Taylor, we've got some questions from fans here that they submitted through EdmontonOilers.com, so we're going to do a few of those with you as well. This one comes in from Jason Hall. I don't know if there's any relation or not, from Edmonton. He says, the minute you answer this question, I will head out and order a jersey. What number will you wear?
That's everyone asked me that last night. I have no idea. I didn't even think of that just because both four was retired in Boston and in Edmonton, so I have no idea.
So probably then, does the number matter to you? Are you a superstitious guy in any way, shape, or form? Or are you just going to be happy to be playing in the NHL next year?
I'll take any number. I'll take 81 if I have to. I don't care.
Okay. Which Oilers, this one comes in from Cardick, also in Edmonton. Which players would you like to play with next year? If you look at the roster and try to pick a couple of line mates for yourself, is there any names that jump off the page?
No one really. I think if you go back and look at what me and Everly done in the U18s and then World Juniors, that was pretty special, so it'd be nice to play with him, but obviously we both still have to crack the lineup, and that's something I'm looking forward to.
Talk a little bit, one comes in from Matthew in Winnipeg. Talk a little bit about Jordan Eberle, playing with him in the past. I know he was, we heard from him yesterday, tremendously excited. Have you had a chance to talk to Jordan yet? And again, just a little bit on maybe having the opportunity to play with him in the National Hockey League. Yeah, I talked to him last night, and he's just very excited. We're pretty good buddies just from the World Juniors and stuff like that. And yeah, he's just telling me how the city was going wild, and I'm so excited for that. I can't wait to get to the city and see the guys, and hopefully when I get to training camp, I have a good camp, and I can show them that I belong.
Taylor Hall joining us here. Taylor, another question coming in EdmontonOilers.com from Jason. He says, what do you think about what you bring to the Oilers franchise, and also who is your inspiration to keep you playing hockey?
I haven't had a whole lot of inspirations, I would call it. I think my drive for the game is, I always want to help my team win, and I think every time I step out on the ice for a game, that's my motivation. So I've always been a player. I've never had to have drive. I've never had to tell someone to work harder or anything like that. It's always been my inner drive, and I think that's what pushes me. When
I talked to you a couple of days ago, we were talking about role models. You were on the ice with the kids out in El Segundo, and we were talking about role models a little bit, and you grew up in Calgary and cheering for the Flames, and you told me at one point you met one of the Calgary Flames in Sears, and that made your life at that point.
Yeah, it was actually Robin Regeer, and he was buying underwear. I'm not kidding. That was great. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Well, just be careful when Robin Regeer is out on the ice.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be sure to let him know that.
Get your stick up as he tries to run you to the boards. Because believe me, he's tried to do it for about the last 8 or 9 years against the Oilers.
Guy from Regina wants to talk about something that we could probably spend a couple of minutes on, and that's the rebuild. You did it in Windsor, obviously, when you were drafted second overall into the Ontario Hockey League. You're going to be, like you were in Windsor, now in Edmonton, you're going to be a very key part of the foundation of a rebuilding process. Tell us a little bit about how it went in Windsor and what you think you can bring from that experience to helping the Oilers turn it around here. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. I went to a team, I was second overall, and there's a lot of troubles. We had a pretty subpar rink. We had a really young team. My first year, we were the youngest team in the CHL, and we actually pulled it off, and we finished third in our conference. So that was a pretty good comeback. And with the Oilers, you have a young team, a lot of young kids, and when you have that, I think there's a sense of excitement when they come to the arena. They're playing in the NHL. They want to do their best, and I think that's really good for the team and for the city.
The Anaheim Ducks may have stolen a player in yesterday's draft. I want to talk. I know you were focused on doing all the sort of things you were doing, but were you getting text messaged at all, or were you having any sort of conversation with Fowler, watching him drop down the draft, a teammate of yours and a guy that a lot of people thought was going to be a top 5 overall pick?
Yeah, I was actually pretty crushed. I was walking around taking pictures and doing all the media, and every time a pick would come up, I'd ask one of the media members who it was, and I was pretty disappointed that wasn't Cam. And Anaheim got very lucky that he slid to them, and I think he's a pretty good replacement for Niedermayer.
Yeah, I mean, that's a situation that ends up, really disappointing for Cam to fall all that way, but he ends up going to Anaheim. That's a very strong franchise, still with some very good young players, and to be able to slide in there with the loss of Niedermayer, you got to think Cam's going to go into that training camp with a pretty good shot to play there next year.
I would doubt for a second that he plays in the NHL. His improvement over the course of the year, and just the way he played at the Memorial Cup in such big situations is, what defines him as a player and as a person. he's a super nice kid, and I think if he goes in there with a never say die attitude, you can make that team.
You're just kind of turning around, looking at the draft board and where things are going, whether it's today or maybe yesterday. Other than Cam Fowler, there's some other buddies of yours or teammates that you're watching for to see what happens.
Yeah, my best buddy on my team, Justin Shug. I'm looking for him to get drafted soon, but hopefully it comes soon. I was hoping for him to get drafted by Edmonton, but hopefully he goes soon.
Is there any way possibly to kind of explain that experience in Windsor over the course of the last couple of years, and just first of all taking the team back, rallying after going 0-2 start last year in the Memorial Cup, and then rallying from an 0-3 deficit in the Ontario Hockey League playoffs this year? How much does that speak volumes about everybody talks about the talent your team had, but what does it say about the character of your group?
Yeah, like I said, when I played in Windsor, I learned how to win. There's young teams and they just don't know how to win. They go into a playoff series and they may be better than the other team, but they just don't do it. And I think when we were down last year and when we were down this year, we had a chance to really become the most resilient team ever, and we took that to heart. We knew that if we won one game, we could come back, and sure enough, we did.
Harry Young was your captain, a real character guy. I know the fans had some questions about the captaincy issues, but I think that just speaks volumes of the type of group that you had collectively, that you weren't necessarily relied upon. There's different ways to lead teams, and in your case, it was leading by your play on the ice as opposed to being a vocal, rah-rah type guy.
Yeah, well, we had 4 assistants and captains last year, and it turned out all those guys returned. So we had such good leaders on our team, and I think that's what drove us to be the best. And every day we came to the rink, every day we came for a game, and we wanted to be the best. We had some complacency issues at the start of the year, but by the end of the year, we were true champions.
Taylor, we'll wrap it up in a second and let you go, but I got to ask, look, back-to-back Memorial Cup championships, back-to-back MVPs for you. You've clearly accomplished everything you could accomplish in junior. Going back would be, I think, a waste of everybody's time. So you'll play in the NHL next year. What do you need to do between now and then to continue to get ready for it? What would you like to accomplish now that you've been drafted, know where you're going, know where you're going to play? What's next for you?
Like every young prospect, you have to get stronger, but I really do. I weigh about 187 right now, and I'd like to gain 5 pounds over the course of the summer, just because they're so much stronger there and so much bigger. So hopefully I can do that, and like I said, going to camp with a good mindset, have some confidence, and hopefully crack that squad.
Okay, well, we'll end on a light note. We'll try to ask you a question that you've never been asked. So this one comes in from Katie at EdmontonOilers.com. She wants to know, if you could be a contestant on any TV game show, which would it be and why?
Family Feud, just because we always watch that in our dressing room.
Yeah, nice. All right, Taylor, thanks for stopping by, and congratulations again.